Hello and welcome back everybody. In today's video we're going to have Atomfall that's coming out on March 27, and we're going to verify the proposed minimum requirement, the really thin information that we have on the minimum requirement, because the only information we have is i5-9400F or equivalent, 16GB of RAM, RTX2060 6GB or equivalent, DX12 and 60GB of drive. No information of resolution, so we're going to test at 1080p, no ID on the FPS, so we're going to aim at least at 30 FPS for this kind of game, and obviously it should be at low settings since it's the minimum requirement, and since they just put equivalent for the AMD side or Intel GPU, we're going to test that on the real minimum requirement in the upcoming video. Welcome to Response PC, I'm Dunk, let's game on. So I have the RTX2060, I have the i5-9400 non-F variant, 16GB of RAM, we're playing at 1080p, and I've started at medium settings and no upscaling. I'm currently at the first bandit encampment, settlement, whatever you want to call it, and this is play in UK, in some kind of nuclear fallout, I'm pretty sure, and I'm sure Random Gaming in HD will like this game really much. Maybe we're going to see his house, who knows, and also find my favorite weapon in this game so far, the paddle. There's a lot of paddling there. I'm starting out obviously at 1080p and at medium instead of low, because the game is easily run, no upscale at all, and we have 145 FPS average. The FPS drop in the low 100 FPS in the action-packed area and go as high as a 200 FPS when there's nothing around. I guess the minimum requirement was the effort to put in searching which was the real minimum requirement, because with those settings I can even push it to high settings like right now, 1080p, no upscale, we still get 108 FPS in the open world walking around. Can go up to 145 when you enter a building, and you drop to the high 90s when it become a bit more heated. It is highly playable. The GPU is back at 100% using 5.6 out of 6GB of VRAM. The CPU is in the mid 40s of utilization, but we're using only 8.6 to 9GB of RAM. So 16 is a bit too much, but we have 12 anyway. And since it's running well on so high, why not at Ultra? So everything is maxed out in graphical settings, still at 1080p and no upscaling. This time we get an average of 76 FPS, having just over 90 FPS when it's quiet, and dropping in the mid 60s when it's become crowded. The GPU is pegged at 100%, that's what we want. Using 5.8GB of VRAM out of 6, that's perfect. CPU utilization is in the high 30s, perfect again, and the RAM we at 8 to 9GB of RAM, still perfect. And since the game is running perfectly well at those settings at 1080p, my guess is this should have been the recommended instead of the minimum requirement. But the dev put those settings in the minimum requirement and put absolutely nothing in the recommended. I don't know if they're going to put up some things by the time it came out, but the game is coming out in less than 24 hours at this point. I guess we'll figure out what is the real minimum requirement in the upcoming video, and also find out what is the AMD side of the minimum requirement. And my recording on Intel GPU is already done for Atomfall, which is probably going to come out tomorrow. So stay tuned for the upcoming video. Thanks for watching, see you in the next one, and subscribe.